Hello students, welcome to Banik IAS. So in the series of discussion on international treaties, the defense and security domain, so today we are going to discuss about this Mtcr, Missile Technology Control Regime. You know, in present day warfare, missile have taken a very prominent role because they are the most sophisticated, most precise and most accurate instruments to launch warheads upon the enemy, its territory, and cause the destruction and devastation without physically accessing the area, either through the regular army or the navy or the air force. Without involving personnel, this rocket or the missiles right now, so they can carry warheads, causing equal destruction by carrying the warheads on them. So, in the post-Second World War period, nations around the world, they started developing missile technology. As you all know, the Second World War witnessed the use of nuclear weapons. Very unique in history was World War II, when nuclear weapon was used, and it was used through an aeroplane. Subsequently, the defense research led to development of the missiles, and the missiles are the instruments which can carry the warheads without physically venturing to that particular area by any personnel. Fine. So as more and more countries, they started their pursuit for missiles. Some country developed it, some country acquired it, and some country tried to get it by any means. So the missiles and its use and misuse, so the scope of its use and misuse increased. The missile technology control regime is a multilateral export control regime. What it is? It is a multilateral export control regime. It is an international informal political understanding among 35 countries. That means Mtcr has 35 members that seek to limit the proliferation of missiles and missile technology. What they want? Aim is to limit the proliferation or spread of missile and missile technology. So MCTR, which are 35 member nations or certified nations as its member, they aims to reduce or to check the spread of missiles and missile technology. Both proliferation of missiles and missile technology to the countries who don't have this. Fine. So this is the very prime objective of this international export control regime. The regime was formed in 1987. When it was formed, the formative year was 1987. It was the G7 industrialized countries. Okay, you know, G7 is an association of industrially most advanced countries of the world, and they are also the rich countries of the world. So they are also powerful in the defense domain, and also they are the most advanced defense technology wielding countries. So they decided to form this Mtcr regime in 1987. So with the objective to check the proliferation of missiles and missile technology. in the global arena, because once this spread, it may create or it may enhance the threat perception around the world. Fine. The MTCR seek to limit the risk of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. As you all know what? Weapons of mass destruction. By controlling export of goods and technology that could make a contribution to delivery system. You see, two things have been discussed here or given here. One is WMD, weapons of mass destruction. What it includes? It includes nuclear weapons, it includes chemical weapons, it includes biological weapons. Fine. So this is one sort of where the devastation by using these weapons are massive. So they are called as weapons of mass destruction. When the destruction is massive, widespread, causing large losses to life and property, they are called weapons of mass destruction. That includes nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, and biological weapons. Fine. Along with that, what are the other target of this MTCR? It is not only about these weapons of mass destruction, because they have their respective treaties, chemical weapon convention, biological weapon convention. Okay, they are already there. Second is, so the focus of this MTCR was contribute to delivery system. How these missiles, how these warheads are being, or the weapons of mass destructions will be delivered upon the country. Fine. Other than manned aircraft for such weapon, because normally these weapons are earlier, in case they have to be dropped, that will be dropped by the aircraft, fighter planes, bombers. Okay, but when missile were developed, these can be very comfortably, very conveniently delivered to the other side. Okay, without the use of manned aircraft. So that is the advantage of a missile over the other traditional that weapon delivery systems. Fine. In this context, the MTCR places particular focus on rocket and unmanned aerial vehicles capable of delivering a payload of at least 500 kg to a range of at least 300 kilometers and to equivalent software technology for such system. Okay, so what is the payload? Means that weight of the arsenal or the destructive arsenal that the missiles need to carry. So at least 500 kg, and the range is 300 kilometers. So these two are the prime consideration criteria for the enforcement of MTCR regime. Fine. So two things you have to remember. One is payload of at least 500 kg or more, and distance of 300 kilometers, a range of 300 kilometers. This is the weight, this is the range. On equipment, software and technology for such systems. This is what is the idea behind. The MTCR is not a treaty and does not impose any legally binding obligations on the partner or the members. Rather, it is an informal political understanding among states that seek to limit the proliferations of missiles and missile technology. It is not a treaty. So there is no such convention, no such rigid rules or the treaties there. Signatory members have to sign it, and does not impose any legally binding obligation. As it is not a treaty in the true sense of the term, it is not putting any legally binding obligation on the partners or the members. Rather, it is an informal political understanding. But it is an informal political understanding among states or countries that seek to limit the proliferation of missiles and missile technology. So here, the countries who are members, so they have an informal political understanding. It's not a formal grouping. So with a rigid rules and regulations, with a bylaw, with a means formal structure. Okay, so it is an informal grouping. Okay, informal political understanding among the member states. So those who are the members of this regime, it is an informal political understanding, and this understanding so seek to limit the spread of missiles and missile technology. So the target was how to check the spread of or control the spread of missiles and missile technology, whether formally or informally. But MTCR emphasizes on an informal political understanding. This is an informal political understanding by which the members try to limit the spread of missiles and missile technology. What they want to control? Spread of missiles and missile technology. So what it is? It is an informal political understanding among states. No formal agreement is there. Informal political understanding. Fine. The MTC is created in order to curb the spread of the delivery system for nuclear weapons. Okay. To curb the spread of that unmanned delivery system for nuclear weapons, especially delivery system that could carry a payload of 500 kg for a distance of 300 kilometers. It was created with this prime objective to curb the spread of unmanned delivery system for nuclear weapons, which was normally a threat. The Cuban Missile Crisis, the other issues, the North Korea, presently North Korean issue, the Iranian issues. Okay, but this was created in order to curb the spread of unmanned delivery system, okay, like the missiles for nuclear weapon delivery, especially delivery system that could carry a payload of 500 kg and cover a distance of 300 kilometers that we have discussed earlier. So payload of more than 500 kg and distance of 300 kilometers are the conditions of MTCR. The MTCR applies to exports to other members as well as export to non-members. However, an aid memory attached to MTCR states that it does not supersede prior agreements with NATO member, allow the supply of category 1 system between NATO members. An example is supply by the United States of Trident missile to United Kingdom for nuclear weapon delivery. So you see, NATO is we come across one more organization which is called as NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So NATO, it is an American USA led military alliance that work on the principle that common security. NATO works on the principle of common security. That means attack on one is considered as an attack on one. So retaliatory attack will be there by the combined NATO forces. If any NATO member is attacked by any outside member, the entire NATO group will come to the rescue of its member who has been attacked by an outsider, because they have this understanding that any attack by an outsider on any NATO member, especially any specific NATO member, will be taken as an attack on all, and the entire NATO members, the NATO countries, they'll come to the rescue of their own fraternity or their own NATO member, so who has been attacked by an outsider. Fine. So, but in this category, so it has been supplied by America to England. So under this NATO principle, it is there because they have a closely, it is called a military alliance. The NATO military alliance, they have a military friendship. Under this, this has been supplied or this has been done. Okay. Moving forward, so what? Okay. The annual meeting in Oslo in June-July 1992 agreed to expand the scope of MTCR to include non-proliferation of unmanned aerial vehicles and all weapons of mass destruction. Something were added. What are added? UAV were added, and all weapons of mass destruction were also added to this MTCR regime. Prohibited material are divided into two categories, which are outlined in the MTCR equipment, software, and technology annex of the organization. Fine. Membership has grown to 35 nations, with India joining on 27 June 2016, adhering to the Mtcr guidelines unilaterally. So India is a means well recognized power in missile technology. Okay, India has a very well and advanced missile development program. Okay, so realizing the requirement of missiles and their significance in Indian defense. So the government of India launched a program called, okay, we have launched a program which is known as Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, and an agency called Defense Research and Development Organization DRDO was created. Okay, these two agencies work in India in complete cooperation and coordination. So this is the this DRDO is the agency, and IGMDP is the program. Okay, and under this program, India aims to have its own missile development, achieve indigenous or self-sufficiency in missile development. Along with that, India also aims that its missiles will be of global standard and must be uh, ordered by others. Okay, so this is what India has developed a range of missiles. Under this DRDO, under Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. Okay, so in the meantime, has developed a range of missiles. So to name some of these missiles, are you know? So what are the missiles developed by DRDO under Integrated Guided Missile Development Program? If you go to that, so you can know that India has developed a range of missiles. Okay, that includes Prithvi, Akash, Trishul, Nag, Agni, 1, 2, 5, then Sagarika, Helena, Astra, etc. This range goes on. Even we have developed the interceptor missile. Fine. And also with joint collaboration, joint venture with Russia, we developed the BrahMos missile. Fine. So many missiles were developed by India under the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. We have started selling this BrahMos missile to a foreign country. Recently, agreement was signed for the sale of the BrahMos missile to a foreign country. This implies India is an advanced country in the missile technology. So India is an advanced country in missile technology, and that is what is being proved by the Indian Integrated Guided Missile Development Program and the different missiles developed under this program. Fine. Since its establishment, Mtcr has been successful in helping the slow or stop several ballistic missile programs according to the Arms Control Association. MCTR was created to control the proliferation of missile technology of the missiles, and it has achieved some success. Okay, MTCR has been successful in helping to slow or stop several ballistic missile groups. Okay, so according to the Arms Control Association, it has been well highlighted that so MTCR is able to convince, and that resulted in, okay, so that slowness in the several ballistic missile programs. Argentina, Egypt, and Iraq abandoned their joint coordinator of ballistic missiles program. Brazil, South Africa also shelved or eliminated missiles or spare launch vehicle programs. Some former Warsaw Pact countries such as Poland and Czech Republic destroyed their ballistic missiles in part to better their chances of joining the MTCR. So in the craze of joining MTCR, many countries reorganize, thus abandon their nuclear program, because joining this MTCR will give them more authenticity, more credibility before the international community. So membership has grown to 35 nations, with India joining at the 27th in June 2016. So India is a member. Remember, in Mtcr, India is a member. Although it joined late, okay, but its membership is valid. Okay. So next, since its establishment, the Mtcr has been successful eh, eh, evolving successful in helping a slow or stop several ballistic missile programs, including arms control regime. So, under the arms control regime, so they want to control the armaments that have been developed. Okay, man first started developing weapons, then good sense prevailed in him or her, then he have tried for destroying it. But destruction is more expensive, more harmful than its preparation. Fine. So, since its establishment, the MTCR has been successful in helping the slow or stop several ballistic programs among the according to the World's Arms Control Association. Fine. Argentina, Egypt, and Iraq abandoned their joint conductor ballistic missile program. Brazil and South Africa also sent or eliminated missiles to spare to space launch vehicle programs. Some former Warsaw countries under the USSR, such as Poland and Czech Republic, destroyed their ballistic missiles in part to better the chances of joining MTCR regime. Fine. So this is what. So Argentina, Egypt, and Iraq, they abandoned their joint coordinator of the ballistic missile program. They were the joint coordinator, but it will take time. So people in a hurry decided to directly jump, and that access or chances of joining the MTCR will be widened for them. In October 2094, in order to be make the enforcement of MTCR guidelines more uniform, the member states establish a non fine. Okay, so establish a no undercut policy, meaning of meaning if one member decides the role of the state, all other members must come to that place. So if one member do this, it will be followed by the subsequent members. It is a common fact. Fine. In October 1994, the order to make the enforcement MTCR guidelines more uniform, the member state established a no undercut policy, meaning if one member denies the sale of some technology to another country, then all members must adhere to it. So you know that so many countries just doing the things, so not to be known to the people. Once the if common people knows, they may create inconvenience if they don't like the project. So here what happened? The government decided to do that. Okay. Then the People Republic of China is not a member of MTCR but has agreed to abide by the original 1987 guidelines and annex. China is not a member of MTCR but it has expressed its willingness that I will join it soon. China is one of the missile developing country. It is developing and testing lot of missiles. So the Republic of China is not a member of MTCR but it has agreed in original 1987 guidelines and annex, but not the subsequent revisions is not allowed. Okay, so people, that implies so China is not a member of MTCR but has agreed to abide by the original 1987 guideline and annex, but not the subsequent revisions. China first verbally pledged that it would adhere to the MTCR in November 1991 and included those assurances in a letter from its foreign ministry in February 1992. China reiterated its pledge in October 1994 that US-China joint statement. In their October 1997 joint statement, United States and China stated that they agreed to build on the 1994 joint statement on missile non-proliferation. So this is what, so subsequent agreements, so whether China will accept it or not, but China has originally agreed to abide the 1987 guidelines, but whether subsequent agreement China will agree or not, so they have been iterated in subsequent periods. In 2004, China applied to join Mtcr, but member did not offer China membership because of concern about Chinese export control standard, because China has exported its missiles to many countries like Pakistan and some other countries. So because of this background, a track record, so many have doubt on China. So others express their reservation on this particular issue when China decided. Israel, Romania, Slovakia have also agreed to voluntarily follow Mtcr export rules, but even though not yet members. So these Israel, Romania, Yugoslavia, breakdown of Yugoslavia, Slovakia, okay, Romania, they are all republics that emerged from the breakdown of Yugoslavia. So they also agreed to voluntarily follow the Mtcr export rules, even though not yet members. The regime has its limitations. Countries within Mtcr have been known to violate the rules clandestinely. So what are the limitations? So everyone agreed that this is informal aggregation, informal consultation, informal guidelines will abide by it. But in reality, what happens? Country within the Mtcr, who are the members, they have been known to violate the rules clandestinely. That means secretly they try to violate this export missile secretly. Okay, some of these countries with varying degree of foreign assistance have deployed medium-range ballistic missiles that can travel more than 1,000 kilometers and are exploring missiles with such much greater range. So, example you can cite Israel, China in particular have already deployed strategic nuclear missiles. Okay, in the SLCM and ICBM satellite launch system. These are the violations, but they are doing it. Some other countries which are not Mtcr member are also becoming sellers rather than simply buyers on the global market. North Korea, for example, is viewed as a primary source of ballistic missile proliferation in the world today. China has supplied ballistic missiles and technology to Pakistan. China has supplied DF-31 IRBM to Saudi Arabia in 1988 before it has been informally agreed to follow Mtcr guidelines. Due to its non-member Mtcr status, Israel is unable to export its wide space launch system to foreign customers. Though in 1994, the US Clinton administration did allow an import waiver for US companies to buy the satellites. So these are all manifestation how the Mtcr guidelines are violated by the member countries. In 2002, the Mtcr was supplemented by the International Code of Conduct Against Ballistic Missile Proliferation, ICOC. What it is? In 2002, so 1987, Mtcr, 2002, Mtcr was supplemented by the International Code of Conduct Against Ballistic Missile Proliferation, also known as the Hague Code of Conduct, because the Hague is a place in Netherlands. Okay, which calls for restraint and care in the proliferation of ballistic missile system capable of delivering weapons of mass destruction and has 119 members. Thus, working parallel to Mtcr with less specific restrictions but with greater membership. So, this one, ICOC, Mtcr versus ICOC. Mtcr versus ICOC. Okay, so ICOC has more members. It is not that it don't have the strict enforcement or guidelines. Okay, so, but Mtcr being the oldest one is more authentic, is more accepted and have more credibility than the ICOC mechanism, which was also having more membership but not international that well reciprocated or well accepted. Fine, not that credibility. Fine, and India, after its own missile development program, always very much interested to be a member of Mtcr. And in this direction, so what steps have been taken by India? Let's know that India formally applied for membership in this group in 2015 with the active support of Russia, France, United States, and officially became a member in 2016 June 27. That implies this is a big achievement for India when India became a member of Mtcr in June 2016 with a consensus of 34 members. These groups normally works on consensus, not on majoritarian principle, but on consensus. Any decisions that have to be taken on consensus, fine. An Indian application for membership of this was accepted by others on the principle of consensus. So it is a good development. That means Indian membership claim or its request was accepted by other countries, and prominently Russia supported India, France supported India, USA supported India in its application, which desired to be a member of the Mtcr. That's a unfortunately with the supports of these heavyweight countries within the group, India was added as a member of this Mtcr in 2016. So, in this domain, you can say recently there is a big news on this. So, India started selling its BrahMos missile. We have missiles as developed by, as I have discussed it, DRDO under Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. But apart from this indigenous missile development, we have a joint venture missile development program. Under this, we have developed the BrahMos missile. Joint venture between India and Russia. Fine. And this missile is based on the name of two rivers, Brahmaputra and Moskova. Joint venture. And for the first time, we sold this BrahMos missile recently. Okay, because once we became a member of this Mtcr, we are able to sell missile depending upon two things. So restrictions will be on missiles carrying more than 500 kg payload and more than 300 kilometer range. But as the BrahMos missile is not coming under this, India for the first time sold this much sought after missiles in the international market to a foreign country. This proved the credibility of Indian program. And once India became a member of this Mtcr, it enhanced the credibility of India in the international missile market. And India was able to explore the international missile market and sell its missile to other countries. The beginning has been made when we sell it to start selling, and more countries have a big interest in purchasing Indian BrahMos missile. Okay, and in future, India may have the order for this missile from other countries. So friends, this treaty, broadly known as the Mtcr or Missile Technology Control Regime, is an international treaty which, as per its condition, it is an informal political understanding, okay, that seek to limit the proliferation of missiles and missile technology. Okay, let me have some points for the preliminary point of view. It is a multilateral export control regime. It is an informal political understanding. It has 35 states as its members. It seeks limit on proliferation of missiles and missile technology. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. It was formed in 1987 by G7 countries. This is the information number 5. Okay, fine. Mtcr places particular focus on rocket and unmanned aerial vehicle capable of delivering payloads of at least 500 kg and a distance of 300 kilometers. This is the 6th conditions. So number 6, 500 kg payload, 300 kilometer distance. Beyond this are regulated, but up to this the missiles which fulfill this criteria. That means it can travel more than 300 kilometers and it can carry a payload of more than 500 kg, will be coming under the restrictions guideline of Mtcr. Fine. Then about its applications, so other Mtcr guidelines are supplementary to the things. Okay. Then coming to the last information. So India became a member of Mtcr in the year 2016. If the questions comes that in advantage of India becoming a member of Mtcr, so from the main point of view, you may get a question: what is Mtcr? The question will be, what is Mtcr? Write about it. Its provisions. Or question number 2 may be, okay, discuss the advantages of India becoming a member of Mtcr. Fine. So these are the things that can be asked in the main examination. And the prelim point of view, the factual information that we've discussed. So its year of formation, 1987. Its promoter, G7. Fine. So its objectives. Okay. So check spread of nuclear weapons and technology. Missiles and missile technology, not nuclear weapons, missiles and missile technology. So friends, so these will enrich you in learning the concept or the topic of Mtcr, its relevance, its significance, and its advantages for India once India became a member of this Mtcr. In subsequent classes, we'll take up some more topic for your enrichment. Thank you for watching this. Thank you.